Good evening and thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Hubel. A bill passed the Louisiana House of Representatives on Thursday that makes it easier to see the criminal records of juveniles over the age of 13 that have committed a violent crime. WDSU reporter Eli Brand spoke with people on both sides of the issue as the bill continues on its path to potentially becoming law. Eli?
Yeah, Elizabeth, still a long way to go for that bill to become law. It still has to pass in the state Senate and get the signature of Governor John Bel Edwards. But the people that we spoke with on both sides of this bill today are very passionate on how it should be viewed moving forward.
The reality is, at this point, the entire city is at risk.
How will this make us safe?
Louisiana House Bill 321, dubbed the Truth and Transparency Act by its proponents, would make portions of the criminal records of juveniles over the age of 13 electronically available in the parishes of Caddo, Orleans, and East Baton Rouge by creating a public portal.
Frankly, the mentality needs to shift to we are all at risk, and how do we move forward to making this a safe city once again for everybody to enjoy.
Elizabeth Hansard's son Noah was shot while out on a walk. He survived but was left paralyzed. She is a proponent of the bill, saying it is a step in the right direction of holding juvenile offenders accountable.
This is just going to make it more accessible. So, for example, in my son's case, he's in a wheelchair. He can't easily go down to the courthouse. He can now literally go online and he will be able to track his case.
Opponents of the bill say it is not broad enough, saying the 3 parishes the bill would exist in should not be the only ones getting that portal, like NAACP New Orleans branch president Ronald Coleman.
It needed to scratch it off the table and be inclusive of every parish in the state of Louisiana, if that's the intent for the victims. So we're going to victimize some more victims again. Jefferson Parish, St. Bernard, Slidell, Mandeville, Hammond. They're all the Louisianans. And when the unfortunate happened, they are victims. So now they're victimized again.
Coleman also points out that the 3 parishes included are all majority black.
And I find it very, very racist because that's where the majority of the African American youth are having problems in their community.
Proponents of the bill say those 3 parishes were chosen as a starting point because they are the highest in crime in the state and that race has nothing to do with it.
I really want people to start thinking that it's not about race. It's about humanity. It's about all of us being in it together. All of us wanting the same goal. The goal is we want a safe city.
Coleman says he agrees with Hansard that something should be done. He just says it should include the entire state. And that bill's sponsor, Representative Debbie Valio from Kenner, sent us this statement saying, in part, from my perspective, this bill doesn't target race. It doesn't target district attorneys. It doesn't target judges. This bill is about public safety. The public has a right to know, and for too long, the victims have been drowned out in the media by social justice theories that lower the bar on offender accountability. That bill now sits in the Senate, awaiting debate and a vote. Reporting live, Eli Brand, WDSU News.
Eli, thank you. And State Senator Royce Duplessis also speaking out on the bill as it moves to his chamber, as Eli just mentioned. He says he wonders how the bill will address the violent crime problem in the state. So he suggests that the real issue is poverty and a lack of affordable housing across the state's most populous cities. He says there are many things that need to be addressed by the state legislature to make a dent in crime instead of this bill.
If we're really serious about fixing crime, we need to be talking about early literacy. We need to be talking about assisting mothers who are struggling, living wages, access to affordable housing, understanding mental health and the trauma that many of these young people have experienced at such a young age. That's how we disrupt crime on the front end, not by making identities of 13-year-olds public prior to their conviction.
And the bill passed in the House of Representatives, controlled by Republicans, with almost 2/3 of the vote. The Louisiana Senate is also majority GOP.